We want to welcome this new industry to our industrial family here in Alabama and to the city of Montgomery. Armco's Montgomery plant will manufacture a truss pipe, a patent double-wall plastic pipe used primarily in sanitary sewer construction. And more than 50 men and women from the Montgomery area will be employed in this new industry. Construction will begin in October, with the company expecting to be in operation next spring.
observer?
Well, I'll be taking his place. I understand.
Do you have any message to carry to the board from the governor?
Not officially, not for publication, I'll say. We're not going to take any part in any personality fights, anything like this. We do expect the board to straighten out any difficulties that they might have, and we're going to offer some direction, but we're not getting involved in any personalities or any pitting one person against another in any of this at all.
This is obviously a meeting to talk about the personnel.
What personalities? Who are talking about personalities?
What do you mean, who? I think everybody will be talking strictly about the administration of the whole department, starting from Dr. Stickney on, all the administrative people. And I think, as we all know, I think we have the perfect right to do that in confidence.
Notice a lot of support out here by the Science for Dr. Folsom. How much emphasis be placed on this?
Well, I don't think that is the major part of the discussion, or the major cause of the discussion. Dr. Folsom, in my judgment, has resigned his position at the hospital, and I don't think that much time should be given to getting into that situation. I think we've got to try to determine some whys about the lack of morale and the lack of loyalty in the whole department.
We are not picketing, and I'm not heading a group. I'm just one of them.
Demonstrating?
We are not demonstrating. We simply would like to let the public know how much we think of Dr. Folsom and how badly we want to keep him at Bryce Hospital.
How do the workers feel about Dr. Stickney?
I have not talked with the workers. I could not answer your question.
How do you feel about Dr. Stickney?
That I will not answer.
One of the two black men to be elected mayor this week in Alabama is 30-year-old Johnny Ford of Tuskegee. Ford, a former community relations specialist for the U.S. Justice Department, defeated two-term mayor C.M. Keever by an unofficial total of 128 votes. Today, at a brief news conference, Ford spoke of the problems and the future of the city of Tuskegee.
Now that this election is behind us, first thing that we want to do is put bygones behind us and pull together and work together as a city so we can move forward. And I mean all of us, black and white, rich and poor, young and old, the educated and the uneducated. Because my philosophy is that we're all God's children, we're equal, and together we stand, divided we fall. So that's the real challenge that's facing the city of Tuskegee, of working together and pulling together as a city. So many of our people need jobs, they need housing. The educational program, though it's come a long way, needs to be improved. Our older people need programs, welfare services, and health. There's so many problems facing the people of Tuskegee. And that is why we want to make the issues at hand and the problems at hand the major concern of all the people. We've got to put aside our petty differences and go to work full time on trying to solve the problems facing our city.
Could you tell me why it took you so long to reach a verdict?
A lot of evidence to go through.
Mr. Trammell, do you have any comments on the verdict? What does this mean for other persons who had been named as to giving favors and bribes to Mr. Trammell? Would there be any federal charges or state charges brought against them?
I really don't know about that. I think it should say to everybody that bribes or favors given to state officials, certainly when not reported on their income tax returns, will not be tolerated in this district. And I think the jurors have spelled that out pretty clearly here today.
Sir, there's been some accusations that this was a political move by the Nixon administration to get George Wallace, and it ended up just getting Seymour Trammell. You have any comments on this?
To my knowledge, that is simply not true.
Are you satisfied with the verdict?
Yes.
What do you plan to do starting Monday morning?
Begin a new trial.
Thank you. Any comment on the verdict?
I would doubt it very much. It doesn't sound like him. He hasn't really been courting anyone except people who have known to be big Democratic figures in campaigns for the national ticket. I mean, for example, he did go to see Daley and so forth, Mayor Daley in Chicago and so forth. But I doubt very much that he would woo Governor Wallace's support.
Can we expect to see the senator and/or his running mate sometime before November in our area?
I couldn't possibly predict. There are many reasons why they cannot do the schedule too far ahead of time. They do it generally just a few days, they announce it just a few days at a time because for obvious security reasons. So there won't be some nut following the whole progress of the campaign, as there was obviously in the case of poor Governor Wallace. So for that reason, we can't know that far ahead, but I have been told that they are definitely planning a rather major southern swing, which I would assume would have to include Alabama, particularly with Senator Sparkman here running.
The Harris and Gallup polls show an approximate 30% lead for Nixon at this time. What do you feel about this?
Well, maybe I'm just an incurable optimist, but I think that that's really rather good because since he's so low in the polls, when he starts climbing, which he's inevitably going to do, the recognition factor alone will cause him to climb, then it'll be so rapid that everybody will say, wow, what's happening? And there'll be that spirit of we're getting somewhere at last that I think is more exciting than if you're just a couple of percentage points apart and you're arguing about whether it's 58.1 versus 60. In other words, I think when you have a big, long distance to go, you sometimes can do it more dramatically and create more excitement. My job is getting out a newspaper that we're going to start next. The first issue will come out on the 1st of October. It'll be the McGovern-Shriver newspaper, aimed at party workers around the country, explaining what's going on and trying to put the issues in a way that makes them a little bit clearer than they now are, because the Republicans are so busy attacking McGovern that they have not taken any stands of their own. Therefore, they've done nothing but confuse McGovern's stands. So my purpose really is to disseminate information as best I can in this campaign.
We're asking the Circuit Court of Montgomery County to enjoin the Public Service Commission from holding further hearings on the Alabama Power rate increase request or from allowing higher rates to go into effect pending the hearing of this suit. The grounds that we're using is the last rate increase Alabama Power requested. and the Public Service Commission granted, 2 of the commissioners granted, is still on appeal. My office and the governor's office appeal that increase to the Circuit Court of Montgomery County. And our grounds in this suit are that as long as that case is on appeal, then how can they come back with a new one, because it hadn't even been determined exactly what the correct rate of return is, as long as the last increase is still on appeal. So we're asking that they be enjoined from proceeding any further or allowing higher rates to go into effect until first the last rate increase, which they granted the power company, which we have appealed to Montgomery County Circuit Court, is disposed of.
Is there any precedent for this suit?
Well, we've got some legal precedent that we feel, one's a state docs case that we think will give us a basis for getting some relief from the court. Now, I'm not at all certain, I'll be perfectly candid with everybody here, I'm not at all certain that we'll win this case. We think we've got a good chance to. But what we're hoping to do by this, I'll be perfectly candid, if we don't win it, we're hoping to keep it tied up long enough to where we'll have a new Public Service Commission for this hearing on this rate increase request is granted, because you can appoint all the committees you want to, you can issue all the orders you want to, anything else, and they're worthless. They're not worth the paper they're written on, as long as you've got a Public Service Commission where the majority, 2 of the 3 members, are just bound and determined they're going to do what they will against the consumer and the working people of the state. And so we're hoping that the voters defeated one of the 2 that are guilty of this on the Public Service Commission, and we hope we can tie this thing up until we get a new Public Service Commission to hear it.
The Public Service Commission decided to go ahead with today's hearing on the rate increase request from Alabama Power Company unless ordered to delay it by a court order.
Well, the law of Alabama, as far as I've been able to tell, is pretty clear, and I would expect and certainly would hope that the Public Service Commission and every other official would do what the law prescribes. That's what I think they're doing, and I don't think they had any choice, but I'm certainly grateful to them for proceeding as the law requires.
For example, to the cities that are buying wholesale and retailing the electricity themselves, and this may be the answer for all cities, but they're before the Federal Power Commission in Washington right now, and they have a hired witness up there that's reading these statements. The power company, they have just gotten recently, about a year ago, they have received one rate increase request from the Public Service Commission, and I don't understand, at that time it was purported to be adequate to fulfill their needs, and yet they'll build things like, right now they've got a multi-million-dollar parking deck planned for construction in Birmingham. They've got a several $100,000 recreation facility for their employees going in at Lake. Well, these things don't produce any electricity, so I can understand why the cost of operating the power company is going up when they're putting the consumer's money into projects like these.
Aware, of course, of the utility free use.